Shalom, family trendsetter. All praises be to the Most High. As you can see, I'm driving, so you will hear some noise in the background, as well as I do have a tendency to struggle for words when I speak. Now, family, without any sarcasm in this particular video, I'm happy to announce that I believe, finally some of the videos that I've been actually making for the last, I would say, 4 years, finally, two of my subscribers, and they're actually related. They're brothers, right? They're related. They're coming around, family. They're coming around. Now, let me give you the backstory. So, I would say probably about 6 years ago, right? I came across these individuals. This is how long I know them now. 6 years ago, I came across these individuals, and how it happened was I was actually in New York at the mall. And at the time, I was wearing my Hebrew attire. I had on my mitri. I had on you don't know, but I had on this necklace, beaded necklace with a medallion on it, and it had the name of the Moeno, Yah, on it, right? Yah, but it was in Paleo Hebrew. And I guess they was intrigued. They saw it, and they asked me. The question he asked me was, he said, "Man, are you Muslim?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not Muslim." I said, "Why you asked that?" Because I already know why he asked, because where I was dressed. I said, "Why you asked that?" It was two brothers, right? And actually, it was I would think it was with the 4 other people, but it was just 2 of them at the time. And I said, "Why you asked that?" He said, "Because the way you dress." You know what I mean? He said, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." And he was like, "You used to go to," and he named the high school that I did in fact used to go to. I said, "Yeah." He said, "Wow." He said, you don't know me, but I remember you from back in the days, and this was back in the 80s and shit, right?" And we started to talk, and he was like, "Man, I remember you used to hang out in the hallway with the Jamaicans." And he said, "I could hear your accent." And this is what he said to me. He said, "Your face didn't even change. His face looked the same despite you having on your Muslim outfit." I said, "I'm not a Muslim." So he said, my bad. Like, "What are you then?" So after, I said, "I'm a Hebrew," and he looked at me, but I don't think he was paying attention to when I said I was a Hebrew, because for them, Hebrew, Muslim, was the same. If you don't say Christian and shit, then Hebrew and Muslim for them was the same. That's what I gathered, right? So anyway, we started to talk. So we was talking more about high school, like, we attended Andrew Jackson High School in Queens, all right? I can give you that. And we was talking about, back in the days and shit, how it used to be. And we just got caught up, we just got caught up with the whole high school thing and shit. I got so caught up with it that I forgot about my mitri and my, my medallion and what I was representing. And this was on a Friday, actually, right? So we was engaged, dialoguing and whatever. And he was like, "Yeah, man." He said, "I remember how about back in the days, how you used to dress. Because back in the days, I used to, wear jewelry." Well, you don't know. I keep saying but I used to wear like jewelry, rope chains, and Bally's. I don't know if y'all remember what Bally's are, and Clarks and shit, for those of you who are familiar with that. Bally's and Clarks and silk shirt. So I was actually like, 16, 17, wearing iron clothing back then, right? Because, I used to work, right? I used to hustle working, okay? Read between the line. Anyway, so we was talking about that, and he was saying, I remember you used to always be every time I got out of the class, you was always in the hallway. And incidentally, the security guard for that school was Ed Lover. So I don't know if y'all familiar with Ed Lover and Dr. J. Was it Ed Lover and Dr. J? I think his name is, the fat dude and the skinny dude. Well, he was skinny at the time, Ed Lover. He was our security guard. And he used to always see me in the hallway. We used to run from the security guard, but sometimes he'll catch us and shit. And he'd be like, "Man, every time I see you," he was from the neighborhood. He was from around the block. So we kind of knew him. And back then we had a little gang and shit. And he was familiar with us. So he used to let me go. And like, matter of fact, he used to tell us when this other security guard was in the neighborhood, was around and shit. Like, he'll come and say, "Yo, man, y'all better be careful, because so-and-so, they about to come up the stairs, case." Because we used to just hang out in the stairs and shit, look for females, right? Anyway, so he said, "Man, every time I see you, you're not in class, you just roaming the hall. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call you Romy, man." And he actually gave me my nickname from back in the days, and that's what they call me today, Romy and shit. That's my nickname besides my YouTube name, Trendsetter. And he gave me that name, and that name stuck with me, right? Stuck with me and shit. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So these dudes, we was talking about high school, and that's when I met them about 6 years ago, because it was, reminiscing. But anyway, before the conversation ended, before the interaction with me and them ended, the other brother said, so you're not Muslim, what is Hebrew? Like, what is a Hebrew? What does that mean? I said, well, it don't really have a meaning. It's a nationality, and I'm in the truth and shit. And so I was explaining to them, breaking it down to them that we are the children of Israel. We are the true Jews, and I was telling them about how we got here, and our ancestors, how they was taken into slavery. And he was like, one of them was like, nah, the Africans sold us into slavery. And I said, yes and no. And he said, what do you mean? He said our own people are sold into. I said, nah, they really wasn't our people. I said, they looked alike because they had the same complexion as it, but they was different people. I said, so I gave him a comparison. I said, it's almost like people from America, white people from America and white people from England, they got the same complexion, but they speak different languages, right? And they also have different heritage, different background. So the other brother was shaking his head in agreement, like, yeah, that makes sense. So I said, even though they are Europeans, even though they're Caucasians, doesn't mean that they're Europeans. Because, Europe, people that live in Europe are Europeans, and people that live in like the Americas, so they consider them Westerners. So even though they look the same, and of course, by nature, they are the same, by nature, because, they're devils, deceivers, right? But they have different culture. So I said, that's a comparison between Africans and us. I said the reason, so I was just giving them the breakdown, like the reason why they actually conspired with the other nations to sell us into slavery is twofold. One, they was actually tricked, and not necessarily they didn't willingly want to do it, but they was tricked because, see, Africans also had quote unquote slave, but it was a different kind of slavery with the Africans having people in slavery. It was more like servitude, just like how they said, well, they had white slave, which they did, but most of these white slaves was able to work off their debt to the society that they was in at the time. And this was the same thing with us, right? Because we had different, remember, Africa is a continent with different countries, like 52 countries if I'm not mistaken. So you have different ethnicity of dark-skinned melanated people living in Africa with different cultures and different way of life, but we all are not the same. Africans is referred to as Hamites, right? Hamitic people and shit. And we are Semites, right? So we come from the line of Shem, they came from the line of Ham, even though they were brothers, but they have two different. So I was breaking it down, explaining to him. So one of the brothers, he kind of caught on, the other one was goofy. He was like, man, he said, man, if you ain't a Christian, man, you in the wrong, what'd he say? If you ain't a Christian, you in the wrong religion. And it struck up another accord, right? And then he was saying he's a Christian, his brother's a Christian. I said, man, y'all ain't no damn Christian. I said, can you trace your ancestry to slavery? And he said, yeah, my great-great-grandfather is from the South, and his father was a slave. And he grew up as a slave, but he grew up in slavery, but it wasn't the hardcore slavery because he said his great-great-grandfather was a slave. So he was saying, he basically gave me a little history. So I said, okay, if you could trace your lineage to slavery, then you'll know that, we was taken into captivity. And incidentally, there was black people here already in the Americas. So a lot of the slaves didn't all come from Africa. They was already here. They was Native American. And it was a big thing because he was like, man, the Native American, they ain't no black people. Because in the ignorance and shit, they didn't know what the fuck they was saying. So because I had the knowledge and I had, the research that I've done, I had the history and shit, I was able to talk. But what I noticed was one of the brothers, right, he was older. He was more attentive. He was more open-minded. He was just listening. He was, you could tell, like, if you're talking and somebody's shaking their head without even realizing they're doing it, that means they're agreeing with you subliminally, right? So we was talking about the other one. He wanted to be hardcore. He wanted to be gangster. He wanted to be thug and shit. Because they knew me back in the days as being like I said, I was in the gang, and back then I used to, be in the game and whatever, right? And they know I had a reputation back then. So one of the brothers now, because he seen me more humble in a humble situation, I guess he's trying to excerpt his thugness, right? Yeah, nigga, now you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because back then, I had a lot of respect when I was in high school, you know what I'm saying? Because I used to, I had that reputation. Let's put it that way, right? So I don't know, for whatever reason, this dude just felt like he just got to be gangster with it. And I was totally ignoring him, because in my mind, I'm like, ain't nothing changed from high school to now. As if anything, I'm more a force to be reckoned with now. Because, you know, back then we was in high school. Back then I was a teenager. Now I'm an adult. I done been through a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm a whole different person. This is one of the reasons why I'm trying to change my walk, by following Lord Tyson commandments. That's why we always find religion, because, you know, we all got a history, right? So anyway, he's trying to, like, you know, yeah, man, that shit, and he's trying to go gangster, and I'm just ignoring him, because in my mind he was irrelevant at this time. He was a nobody. I don't care. Yeah, and I'm not saying that he couldn't evolve into something else too, something deadly, but for me, he was irrelevant. So I would start to talk to his brother, his older brother, and he was more receptive to what I had to say. So anyway, we was talking to, so the older brother said, yo, we got to exchange the number, man. If you, because that time I was living in Maryland, but I was visiting my kids in the Bronx or whatever, right? So he said, if you ever, you know, in the area, you know, hit me up and, you know, we could go hang out, right? And the other brother said, nah, we can't hang out with him because he don't drink. I said, actually, I do drink. Yeah, we allowed to drink. See, in Christianity, you say you're a Christian, right? Christianity teaches you can't drink. Shit, I could cuss too. He said, what? Man, you can't. He said, yeah. I said, Christianity controls you by telling you can't drink. But I said, didn't Jesus Christ turn water to wine according to y'all story? So that's why I turned it back on him and shit. So didn't Jesus Christ turn water to wine? So if you couldn't drink, then why would he, according to the story, if it ever existed, why would he turn water to wine if, you know, alcohol wasn't allowed? Why would he perform this miracle that allegedly he did, which never really happened? And the dude, we talk about, man, yeah, of course it happened. You know, all these miracles, and, you know, like, So anyway, the seed was planted. This was 6 years ago. So I remember, like, you know, I didn't take them up on their offer when I'm in New York, but I remember, like, it might have been like about 4 and a half years after that, I was back in New York. I was in Queens at this place called the Coliseum. For those of you who are familiar with Queens, New York, you know, the Coliseum is a place where everybody go hang out. Even 50 Cent of them from South Jamaica is like, South Jamaica to the Coliseum is probably like maybe 7 minutes away, right? If that far. So that's all them people, 50 Cent, all them people, Banks, all them people used to hang out at the Coliseum. Run DMC and them, LL Cool J, and they from my era, right? Actually, they're a little older than me and shit, but they from my era. Anyway, so I remember, like, 3.5 to 4 years later, I went back to Queens to the Coliseum, but this time I didn't have on my Hebrew attire, right? I just had on regular, you know, cornel clothing, right? Garments and shit. So I ran back into the younger brother. I bumped into the younger brother, and he was like, yo, what up? You know, he called me by my slave name, you know, the name he know me from school. He said, what up, you know, whatever. So I was like, what's up, man? He said, damn, yo, you look different from the last time I saw you. He said, yo, you good? I'm like, yeah. So we was talking that New York talking shit. And he's like, yo, what happened, man? You never called us, man. Like, you know, my older brother, man, he was like, yo, he was trying to find your number because we gave you our number, but you never called. My brother was like, he really wanted to know more about this Hebrew thing. As a matter of fact, yo, we actually in the faith, right? That's what he said. I said, the faith? He said, yeah, man. I said, yo, he was like, nah. He said, yo, we actually, yeah, you was right. What you know, a lot of stuff you was saying, man, it resonated with my older brother to the point when we left, we start research. This is how you talking, right? I'm just talking for a minute. I don't talk like this and shit. But we was researching everything he was saying. My brother, man, he just got caught up in this shit, man. Now he like, yo, he's in his camp, and he was telling me about the camp. I forgot the camp name. I think IUIC. I think that's what he says down with IUIC. Those, I don't fuck with them, you know what I mean? But they're alright, but they Christians and shit. They Christian, undercover Christian family. I kid you not. IUIC. Anyone believing, any camp that believe in the New Testament, so-called savior, they're Christians. Trust me. It's just that they might, you know, evolve from a little bit from Christianity, but they still got that Christian mindset. If you read it from the New Testament book and you believe all that shit in the New Testament book, even Revelation, where it talks about all the shit that's coming to pass, because some of the shit that's in Revelation, you can see happening today, but all that stuff was plagiarized and taken from the Old Testament, the book of Daniel, all this shit. So they stole all the prophecies and shit, and they put it into their book, so their book now look more legit. But anyway, so we was talking, and he was telling me, yeah, man, you know. So I said, what about you? Are you in the camp? He said, nah, I ain't no camp, man. I don't follow no camp. I said, I'm my own individual, whatever. But he said, I do rock with, you know, the teaching. So I said, okay, cool. So he said, how come you're not in your mitri and your, you know, your attire? He asked me that. So I said, nah, you know, I'm good. I said, right now, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna front. You know what I'm saying? I don't wear it every day. You know what I'm saying? Even though you're supposed to be set apart, means you're supposed to wear it and just look different from the other nation. But I don't wear it all the time. You know what I'm saying? And he said, that's fair. That's fair. You keeping it 100. I said, yeah, you know. But that doesn't mean I don't have it within my heart. You know what I'm saying? Me putting on a meat tree and my fringes and wearing all that don't mean nothing. That's just for show. Yes, it's supposed to show the other nation what you're about, but you know, in your heart, you could just be doing that shit just to show, but deep down you wicked. So I said, I'd rather go with my heart than my outer appearance. And he was like, yeah, I like that, I like that. But what I noticed about him this time, he was more humble than the first time. The first time he was street, you know, he was trying to go hard, but this time he still got that New York, you know, slang, swag or whatever. But he was more humble. He wasn't going hard like he was. Actually, he had a lot more respect for me. I noticed it's like he was more respectful. And he would listen as opposed to talking over me, cutting me off, right? So anyway, we went on. So then we started talking, and he was saying, "Yeah, man, he said, I said, who you rock with? Like, which camp do you really follow?" So he said, at one point I was following IUIC, and then he said ISUPK, but he feels more comfortable with GGOC or some shit like that. GGOC. I forgot the name because I used to rock with them too. I used to be a part of their camp. GOCC, there you go. GOCC, Ella Card, and the other one. I used to go to one of their camps in DC. So I ain't gonna lie, I used to be a part of that old Christian camp too and shit, right? Because they are straight up Christian. They believe in the 12 tribe chart. They believe that it's okay to marry to other nations as long as they're a part of the 12 tribe chart that Ariel came up with and shit. Talk about he had a vision and all this shit. That shit is garbage. 12 tribe charts is garbage. Because first of all, nobody knows who the children of Israel are, you know, where we're scattered. And number two, anybody that's a non-melanated individual, they're definitely not a part of Yasharal. I don't give a fuck if you're from Puerto Rico. If you're from Puerto Rico, you got that Spaniard look. If you're not a melanated person, you are not one of us, right? I don't care if you're from Mexico and talk about you from Issachar and all this bullshit. If you are not melanated, right? You are not a part of our nation. I don't give a fuck. That's for the record. All right. Anyway, so why am I making this video? So earlier this morning I was in Philly, right? And I actually came across them again. It's crazy. I bumped into them three different occasions, and it's almost like every time I bump into them, it's like almost 3 years. It's so crazy. So I bumped into the two brothers today, and this time when I saw them this morning, they actually had on their. They didn't have on a Mitri. They had on a kufi and had on, you know, the Yah, the shit that I had on. I guess they might have copied me. And they was wearing their fringes, right? And I was like, I seen them, and that's what caught my attention because I was over by one of the university dropping off some shit. As a matter of fact, I'm on my way there now, right? And I'm on my way from there, I should say. And I was dropping off some stuff. And I bumped into them, and they was so crazy. Both of them was together, and they looked so different. They was like, yo, they was bearded up. Their beard was real long, and they you know what I'm saying? They looked set apart. They looked holy for real. And I was in my regular work clothes, and once again, I guess I got that face. The younger brother, yo, shout me out, yo, what's up? So, yo. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, who the hell is that? Those people. I thought they was damn Muslim and shit, the way they was dressed. And he was like, yo, it's so-and-so, Raheem and Shaquem. And I'm like, what, yo, what up? And I walked over to them and started. I'm like, what y'all doing over? He said, yeah, man, we live in West Philly. And, you know, I said, yo, we go to this school right here. So I said, y'all grown men. Now, you mean you go? He said, nah, man, we decided we gonna further our education. My brother's going for this, I'm going for that. And I'm like, where? And you know, they're older cats, you know, they in their late 40s, you know what I'm saying? And they going to school, you know, it was a university, and ain't nothing wrong with that, you know, and they tell me what they did. For matter of fact, one of them said this is their last year. He's going for his what he said, his bachelor, not his bachelor. What is the bigger one? It says bachelor and associate, his master's. He's going for his master's in psychology. And I'm like, where? He said, yeah, I'm about to graduate in June and blah, blah. I'm like, man, I was happy to see and hear, you know, they're, you know, producing or they're productive then, right? So anyway, hold on, man. That's why I ain't supposed. Anyway, so we was talking again, right? And, you know, we was just kicking it and whatever. So he said, man, I remember the last time I saw you was in Queen, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, he said, man, you still ain't wearing your meat treat. And yes, I said, nah, man, I'm good. You know, I said, I've evolved. I said, once again, you know, it's not your outer appearance the Most High is going to judge you for. It's going to judge you for your heart. And he said, well, here you go, still talking that talk. So check this out. So anyway, we started to talk. So his older brother say, man, you know, he said, all praises to Yah. You know, he was talking. And he said, you remember when you was telling us, because at one part of the conversation, I forgot to tell you, we was talking about, I was telling him that I don't rock with the New Testament Savior no more, you know what I'm saying, because this was a younger one, because it's all made up and it's a white man. And at the time, they didn't receive that, you know what I'm saying, because they was going to GOCC camp, and then it was like Christians, like I told you. So the older brother now said to me, yeah, man, I was a part of GOCC. No, he said I was a part of IUIC, then IUIC, ISUPK. Then I went with GOCC. I was with them for a couple of years, but then I started to see how the camp was more about trying to gain members as opposed to like gaining soul, you know, winning over souls. I said, man, look, no man can win over souls, fam. I said they could present the word of the Most High, but only the Most High can win souls, not men. So he was like, yeah, well, that's not what I mean. I'm just saying, like, I noticed that they trying to cater more even to white people. They said they got a lot of white people now going to the churches and talking about if they from, what did he say, Ireland, that they're part of the 12 tribe, which is bullshit because, no, the original Irish were black. The original, everybody on this prison planet, the original people were black. The original Romans were black. And he was like, yeah, and he's like, yeah, I realized that because I've done my research, and so what they're doing now, they're trying to infiltrate our walk, talking about, you know, and so I said, yeah, and I could guarantee a lot of these so-called white Irish Israelite are agents, you know what I'm saying? They infiltrate the camp, just like I did with Pastor Dow and shit, right? That other Christian Hebrew. And he was like, yeah, so he said he realized that, you know, the teaching about, because they go by the word of Yeshua, they go by the Savior being named Yeshua and shit. So he was like, I realized that they was really Christians, you know, they just dress it up. They said they very knowledgeable of the Bible. I said, of course, we all are. But I said, but he was like, but you know, I could tell that they're really Christian, just like you had said. And he was like, yeah, he had to leave that camp like 2.5 years ago. So I said, what camp you with now? He said, nah, I don't rock with no camp. I just, you know, I read the Torah, I read the Sefer, and that's it. You know, I'm one-on-one with the Most High. I don't deal with no intercession. I don't deal with no New Testament Savior. So I said, word? He said, yeah. I said, man. So I gave him a hug. I'm like, man, this a holy Hebrew hug, man. I said, I'm glad to hear that. And I said, what about your brother? He said, yeah, I'm same here, man. He said, yo, we don't deal with that shit no more. Like, and he said, shit. I was like, what? I said, you cussing, boy? He's like, yeah, man. You know, at the end of the day, man, it's just man-made word. You know, this is a way you express it. There you go. And so, you know, I have a YouTube channel. And guess what he said to me, family? He said, I found your channel. And I've seen it, but I didn't know who you were. Yes, he said, your voice sounded so familiar. But I never knew it was you because the name you was going by, I don't know you by that name. But he said him and his brother was like, yo, you sure that ain't so-and-so? Because he sound just like him, man. And, you know, but basically, he didn't know. Hold on, fam. Yeah, I had a slave patrol on the side of me. But anyway, he was like, you know, they didn't know me based on the name, my YouTube name. But he said, your voice sounds familiar, the way you talk and your preaching sounds familiar. And we would subscribe for you for like a couple of years. I said, for real? I said, like a couple of years, like. He said, yeah, about 3 years. Yeah, man, we was listening to you on and off. And I said, so why you never like commented in the comment section? He said, it's crazy because one time he actually commented, he left a long comment. And one of the comment was, he was saying in the comment that I sound familiar, but it was removed. And he thought I removed the comment, that whoever the person was removed it because I guess they figured that I was the wrong person. So I said the only time a comment can be removed either by the person that made the comment or probably, you know, myself. Someone else can't remove it. So I said it definitely wasn't me. It probably was YouTube. And he said, yeah, I knew it, man. I had a feeling it was YouTube because I noticed, like, I used to hit this, what he said, I hit this notification. I used to get notification. All of a sudden, I don't even get notification no more. And I was unsubscribed, and I was like, wow, why this dude unsubscribed me? I ain't saying nothing. And I'm like, yo, that's how YouTube is shadow banning my channel. So kind of find out, right, today, not only did I find out two things. One, that these brothers actually finally got the message about this New Testament bullshit savior, right? And secondly, I found out for the first time today that YouTube is actually unsubscribing my subscribers. Thank you for that. But so now what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be taking action, right? Because I am not saying anything different than other people. You got people on YouTube talking about niggas, calling black people niggas and N-word, and you got people showing. I remember one time I showed a video about a shooting where you had a dispute and shit, and they came out in the snow. Y'all probably seen that video, and killed each other, right? The guy literally went inside, got a AK or whatever, and killed the two people. And I had showed that video, and they like literally took the shit down, right? They took it down. Talk about it violates YouTube, whatever you call it. But then there's another channel that I watch that I'm subscribed to that shows, like, you know, defensive encounters, and they show that shit all the time. I even had put viewer discretion and all that, right? And they took my shit down, but it was another white channel. They let the shit up. I even remember downloading that video from the other channel to fight back. But I say, you know what, at the end of the day, I could care less. Fuck them. I say, this is their shit. I don't got time for all that. But this time around, since I got proof that they're doing it, I'm going to look more into it. So this is one of the reasons why my average views is so low. My average views is probably like fucking 50 views. If I get 50 views, that's viral for me. You know what I'm saying? And I got over 30, well, now I'm dropped down to 37 something. I had over 3,800 subscribers at one point. Now they done, you know, unsubscribe a lot of my subscribers. But I'm saying this to say, family, that the message is going out. Yes, it might take a while, but you know, who the Most High is going to save, not Jesus. Who the Most High is going to save, he's going to save. The Bible said, many are called, chosen, a few. I don't know if the Bible said it, but there's a saying, many are called, chosen, a few. Right? I want to be one. How about you? Anyway, family, let me know what you think in the comment section. With that, I say shalom.